Erie County, Pennsylvania, one of the snowiest places in the United States, one of the hottest when it comes to national politics. It's been said if you can't win Erie County, you can't win Pennsylvania. And if you can't win the Keystone State, you're probably not going to win the keys to the White House. Just knowing a little about Erie County voters means you know a lot about that election.
I'm Dr. Joe Morris, political analyst and a professor of political science. I'm talking with voters from all walks of life in Erie County, Pennsylvania, a place that's been called America's swingiest swing county. A county that just may well determine the outcome of the 2024 presidential election. While this work is separate from my role and responsibilities as a professor, I do it because it's an opportunity to engage with you, the public, and to help each of us become the informed citizens that democracy demands. To say that hunting is important for residents of Northwest Pennsylvania is just a bit of an understatement. Erie County is a place where, once you get outside the city, pickup trucks with gun racks are about as common as trees. And trees are everywhere in Northwest Pennsylvania. Ask most hunters, and they'll tell you that hunting is less about the kill than it is about spending time with family and friends. It's a family tradition they can trace back generations. Most hunters in Erie County will also tell you that things, well, they are a-changing. If you sit down with some local hunters, as I have, they'll tell you about changing migration patterns, first snows that seem to come later than they used to, and memories of ice fishing with their parents and grandparents, memories that the changing weather has not allowed them to make with their children and grandchildren. Harold is one of Erie County's outdoorsmen, a hunter who likes nothing more than getting together with family and friends to continue the family tradition that began so many generations ago. He votes every time there's an election and has what may be a surprising perspective on the rhetoric and tone of the 2024 presidential campaigns. And the issue he chooses to talk about, well, that may surprise you too. Join me as I talk with Harold and get what may very well be a preview of the conversation he'll be having next time he's sitting in a duck blind with those he cares about most. A conversation that may or may not be about that election. Why don't we start with you just telling me where you're from and what's your connection to Erie?
I was born and raised in Mill Creek. Been there since 1986 and never moved out. I moved away to Pittsburgh for a little bit, but then came back to Erie for a job and been here ever since.
Where did you go to elementary school and high school, and what did you do when you were there?
I started out at Our Lady of Peace. Went there for 8 years, and then went to McDowell High School, and then graduated there, and then ended up going to Edinboro University for 4 years. Got a couple of associate degrees and a bachelor's degree. Used that for about 4 years, 5 years, and got out of that, and then that's when I joined a local union, 449, the steamfitters union, and did another 5-year apprenticeship program with them. And I just finished that about 2 years ago and officially a journeyman now. And kind of like a brotherhood of people that you always work with. And, you know, if it's with steam fitters or electricians, plumbers, I mean, you work with so many different types of people and different backgrounds with them. And you just have all like the kind of like the same interest and obviously the same goal to build something that's going to last for the next, 50 years, hopefully. And we were working at St. Vincent Hospital. We had to bring up some pipe on the roof, but we can only do it with one of those JLG lifts up on top, coming up the side of the building. And we were probably up there like 60, 70 feet. It's a little bit windy, but that thing, like, while you're working, you almost have to, like, time it when you're, like, working because you're swaying. I'm looking down and people are like ants. I'm like, just stay strong legs. It's a mind game.
What do you do for fun?
I just love spending time outside any time of the year. Do some fishing, hunting, hiking, camping. I mean, anything with fresh air and the weather. But my biggest thing I enjoy doing is duck hunting. I've been duck hunting at Presque Isle and in the swamps now for almost 20 years, and still makes my heart thump every time I go out, and just haven't lost that feeling. It just really gets me going. And nowadays, I make my own decoys for duck hunting, and now my oldest brother has 3 young ones, so we take them out for early youth and just kind of passing that tradition down to them and getting them involved with why we duck hunt, and it's more so about than just the kill. It's just spending time with family, friends, and sit in the duck blind all day with a handful of people. You better have some good conversations, like, get some good laughs and jokes, and yeah, it's just that's what really gets my heart thumping. If we go like swamp hunting for ducks, or if I'm archery hunting for deer, I'm in the middle of the swamp, in the middle of the reeds, just tucked away, invisible to Mother Nature. If you're up in a tree stand or down on the ground hunting for deer, you're all brushed in, you got your camouflage on, just hoping to see some action. But some of the best days I've ever had was not killing a thing, but seeing Mother Nature do its thing naturally, with the squirrels going by, the birds flying by. I mean, you think our sunsets are awesome around here? I mean, I think the sunrises are even better on most days. Like, I'm a sunrise person. I'd rather see that than the sunsets. I mean, they're both beautiful, but there's just something about the mornings that is just very quiet, peaceful, and just, I love sitting in the woods when everything's waking up around me. Just Tweety birds, you hear turkey in the background, and you don't hear any cars going by or people yelling or anything, and it's just very relaxing, and it kind of brings you back to home and what really kind of matters in life. And 15 years ago, the way the migratory birds migrate from north to south is totally different from how it is today, just with like the climate change and just different things going on. So I remember, I first started hunting down at Presque Isle when I was 16. At the end of December, right around the holiday season, it'd always be very cold. We'd have snow. There would be people ice fishing in Marina Bay or Thompson's Bay, and we would be duck hunting out in Beach 11. Everything would be freezing up, and it just progressively got pushed back. The weather got pushed back like that. The severe weather got pushed back further and further, and I mean, it's been 3 years now that we haven't even been ice fishing because there hasn't been ice at all through the season.
2024 is a big year for American politics, the presidential election. What does that future look like for you?
The future of like a good president, in my eyes, of what's going on, it's just transparency and just personal morals. Like, I feel like both sides, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, I mean, they're both just, morals are out the door. What dirt can we find on the other person to make them look worse than we are? Even now I see, President Trump is, can be indicted for multiple felonies and the crap he's going through. Joe Biden's son, with all the crap he's going through, it's like, that's all I hear is crap on the TV, crap on the news, crap on the internet. I like to hear some positive things of what's going on. Like I said, the biggest thing is just morals and transparency. Like, if you're going to be running this country and you're like, the president of the United States, like, have some control some morals. Everything that I see on TV, it's like you're this side or this side, and that's it. No one else, nothing else, and that just blows my mind of all the millions of people in the United States, and we have to choose between these two people. Really? Like, I'll just put my name down and hope that I win. You know, yeah, it's pretty sad. It's scary for real. You really think about it. I can't imagine where this country's going to be in like 20 years. Even sad to see where these politics are going nowadays. And you know, as soon as I hear it on the news, they just start talking crap on each other. I just turn it off because I think you would be a better person if you can tell me something nice about somebody that you're running against. Like, you know, anything good. I see more character and morals in that, in a better person. You know, you just don't see that in presidents nowadays.
So all the crap is just one more reason to go hunting out in nature.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody needs to unplug sometimes. You just mentally, physically just unplug and get back to nature and what really matters in life. At the end of the day, what really matters.
We're all prone to stereotyping people, making assumptions about who they are and what matters to them after, say, we learn that they prefer tennis to hunting or work in an office building as opposed to the trades. Harold, a member of the Steamfitters Union and avid outdoorsman, is an example of why making assumptions about people is so dangerous. He's a hunter, but rather than worrying primarily about his gun rights, as many probably assume he would, he's clearly worried about the effects of climate change on the wildlife that is so important to his way of life. Rather than appreciating that the tough talk of the job site has made its way to presidential campaigns, he's turned off by candidates' inability to do anything more than beat up on their opponents and sling insults at one another, especially when issues, like climate change, are having an enormous impact on the things that matter most to him. It's true that Harold is just one among many outdoorsmen that call Erie County home. So we can't say with certainty that his thoughts about the 2024 election are shared by all Erie County hunters. But I suspect they're shared by quite a few. I also suspect that in the fall, when they find themselves sitting in those duck blinds that seem to be everywhere in Erie County, sometimes the conversation between friends and family will turn to politics. And the topics those hunters discuss may surprise us. But if Harold is any indication, the conversation will be less about insults and more about the actual issues that threaten the important tradition that brings them all together. I'm Dr. Joe Morris. I'll see you next time to talk more about that election.